My style is more a reflection of and a growth of the roots of the firm. And we've been around 63 years, and I feel like I'm more of a caretaker of that aesthetic. My name is Mark Dailey. I am principal in charge of design and president for Integrus Architecture. I am based in Spokane. I think there's artist DNA in all of us, architects. A good architect is a pretty unique person, and they are very multi-skilled. So when I see great architects and great buildings, I appreciate it. There's days where you want to be the crazy artist sitting in the corner, sketching, leave me alone, and then there's days where you're selling a project and needing to be able to communicate those great ideas. And if you can't communicate them, great design can't happen. The Carnegie Library is Integrus Architecture's home in Spokane. It had been empty for 15 years, so the building was in very bad shape. What was interesting about the design was that we could kind of pick and choose where we wanted to replicate something, a plaster rosette, where we actually recreated with wax the mold for the rosette and cast it and then glued it back onto the wall. The tile is another one where we didn't feel the need to replace the tiles. So there are some beauty marks on the building which we thought were important. We didn't want it to be perfect. We wanted to have kind of an edge to it. We were not apologizing for the fact that you could tell what was sort of new to the space and what wasn't. And that was not intended to be disrespectful to the building, because we took that very seriously. There's a number of things that I think are my favorite or great about the space. The first is the obvious one, is just the abundance of daylight. The fireplaces, of course, everybody loves. They're a little out of scale and kind of on steroids for the size of the space they're in, and every one of them's different. The guardrail around the atrium, obviously the wrought iron and the filigree of the wrought iron is important to this style of building. The heavy oak top rail was restored and replaced where it had been either damaged or stolen. What I'm most proud of is the unnoticed blending of the modern contemporary with the historic shell. Putting it on not only the local historic register, but the national historic register. That balance was at times very rewarding and at times challenging. They aren't asking you to recreate history. They don't want a cartoon of some historical interpretation or your interpretation. What they want you to do is complement the building in proportion or in scale or in systems. And if you look around this particular room, you'll see exposed mechanical system, and the historic preservation group agreed with that approach. They did not want us to build a bunch of fake wainscots or base elements at windows where the radiant heaters were taken out and the ducts were put in. So they want it complementary, and they want it honest, and they want it obvious what is historic and what is not historic.